The two biggest changes which is entirely reshaped the dirt bike industry is one, when Yamaha announced his four-stroke dirt bike in 1997, and second, when Stark Varg announced his electric bike in 2023. These two companies made the biggest impact on the dirt bike riding industry, and they are completely reshaped the way we are thinking about dirt biking nowadays. This episode, we are going to find out why Stark Varg cannot do what Yamaha was able to do back in the days, and it was a mind-blowing success.
Here's Doug Henry as he heads toward the checkered flag. What a story here tonight.
And unfortunately, Stark Varg did not exceed it as well as Yamaha did. Before we start, today's video powered by Urmasi. We design and manufacture dirt bike parts like the 720 SBC or flexible brake pedals and more. Built by riders who believe some things can be done better. Learn more on our website. We're going to go back into the history lane, and we're going to start with the Yamaha. These guys had a huge factor on their side to start with, and in the entire process they had this mystery, let's just call it mystery, something on their side which has helped them to succeed from the beginning all the way to the end, which unfortunately Stark Varg does not have. We are back in the 1995 era, when the two-stroke was the dirt bikes. Every single race bike was a two-stroke dirt bike in that era. There was no four-stroke race bike in this era. There was a four-stroke bike, but none of them was MX and AMA level race bike. Too bored, the Japanese guy decided to, let's just make a four-stroke dirt bike. And the interesting part about that, Yamaha said, okay, let's do that. Let's make a four-stroke dirt bike. And what's even more interesting, these two guys, they never ever built a four-stroke bike, and they had never ever been around a dirt bike racetrack or even riding a dirt bike before. So they had no knowledge of dirt biking whatsoever. And none of this matters, because Yamaha said, oh, these two guys are the guys who I'm going to trust with, and we're going to give them unlimited amount of money to build the first four-stroke bike.
特にですね、モトクロスをよく知ってる人はほとんど信用してなかったですね。僕モトクロスやったのだってこの機種が初めてですもんね。
They thought, let's just make it in a budget-friendly way, and there was a 250 TTR Yamaha at the time, air-cooled traditional four-stroke bike. And they were thinking about to have that engine into the YZ250 frame. They put it in there. It was heavy, unsuccess. Then they realized this is not going to work that way. So they went to grab a cylinder head from the race development, and they ended up taking 3 slack into the dumpster and keeping 1 cylinder head from that 4-cylinder engine, and they managed to figure and put that cylinder head on that TTR 250 dirt bike. And then they come to the realization this 4-stroke engine could rev up to 13,000 RPM, which was never heard at the time. So they were already onto something at the beginning, what they can show to the Yamaha ownership, what's never been done before, and it's actually work, which is 13,000 RPM. And at the time, that was a massive achievement. The bike had a little, this and that. It didn't really work the way it should. It wasn't had enough power, but it was very advanced. They had a carburetor from the same bike. They took one carburetor off from that 4-cylinder race bike, and they just shove it into the single-cylinder 250 dirt bike engine. They also boost the carburetor up with a fuel pump system to have the carburetor overpressurized and have a better flow. They also added the first throttle position sensor, and with the ECU, they were able to manage the timing and the fuel mapping according to the throttle position. Only problem was that they realized the 250cc engine is not powerful enough to compete with the 250 two-stroke because it just doesn't have enough power. So they realized it needs to be at least 400cc in order to be competitive with the 250 two-stroke lineup. And then the first four-stroke 400cc engine reborn. If you want the biggest exposure and the biggest success, you need to win a race. Yamaha knew that. It always has been the case. So why wouldn't they want to compete on the toppest level and go to AMA and racing against the two-stroke? And this is the time when things are changed for Yamaha and the luck going on their side in the level which is unbelievable. It's so much so Elon Musk is the one who said if he can choose superpower, which power he would choose, and he chose the luck. And he just chose that, but Yamaha actually had that because what's coming next is just unreal. We are at still 1996 and the four-stroke race bike was unheard. And they had the challenge of finding somebody on the top level who willing to ride a four-stroke race bike and also sacrifice his career because it's probably not going to work the way it should because it's just new. And even according to Ken Rudson, if you want to go and develop a bike, it takes like 2 years to have the bike and the racers in level of competing.
If a bike isn't perfect and you put in 2 to 3 years of work into that motorcycle, you can get it to where you have ridden it so much and then you actually get comfortable and then boom.
The first luck is to finding Doug Henry. The gentleman was on top of his game. Unfortunately, the injury cut him off, but he had one less chance.
That Yamaha wanted me to ride the four-stroke and my heart kind of sank. I really struggled with what to do.
And the long story short, he ended up signing a contract with Yamaha without even seeing the bike. He didn't even know what he's going to ride with. And when the first time he went to see the bike in Japan, he was blown away. 110 kilogram, lightweight, magnesium, titanium, ultra modern four-stroke race bike.
And when I saw the bike, I was amazed by the beauty of it. You know, all the machine parts and carbon fiber and magnesium and titanium and aluminum. To me, it was a beautiful bike.
And the second luck, which is slightly bigger than the first one, is AMA never allowed a manufacturer to race on their competition level unless that bike is a production running bike. And unfortunately, Yamaha four-stroke, it wasn't a production running bike. The Yamaha guys, just like on the beginning, you know, like when Yamaha just said, oh, let's just have these two guys building a bike for me, even if they never done it before, it should be okay. So what Yamaha did, they ended up going to the AMA and they asked them if they let them to do that, which is racing their four-stroke on that particular race in 1997 against the two-strokes. And the Yamaha engineer said, oh, four-strokes engine are way more efficient. It doesn't smoke as the two-strokes. So why not letting us to try it out? What can go wrong? And AMA said, okay, we're going to change the rules just for you. And we are letting you to choose 1 year, only 1 year, when you can actually race with your four-stroke. And Yamaha chose 1997. Luck number 3, the biggest one. We are at Las Vegas, 1997. The bike is there. Everything is ready to go for. Everybody in the entire lineup, they were skeptical. They never see a bike like that. And they thought this bike wouldn't even make it to the qualifying race.
So many people doubted the four-stroke because they didn't see it. They'd never seen anything like that.
From here on, I have no word for what happened, but it did. There was too much dust on the racetrack, so the race organization thought, well, we're going to put magnesium chloride on the surface to reduce the dust. This compound is used for street racing, and apparently these guys never used this before, and they didn't know how much they actually need to use, so might as well they just put everything what they had on the racetrack. And the result was next day like a concrete, a rock solid dirt track, which was pretty bad for the two strokes, but it was extremely good for the four stroke because the manageable power. We are at the qualifying race, and everybody's lined up. Everybody has a doubt of this guy, Doug, will be able to do anything but fail. The race went on, and soon as they started, he just took off.
He's really another success story in 1997, for sure. Henry Hughes Bradshaw Luskinemi on our Suzuki Field summary, as number 20 has got to be feeling good right now. Here's Henry, our leader. But the bubble is in danger right now. Bradshaw is putting the challenge to Phil Lawrence as we take a look at the leader of our second qualifying heat on the four-stroke, number 20, Doug Henry.
Doug has been able to experiment around with lines and jump things with different timing. He's found his way around Emick twice. The same turn. I don't think Emick will let him around there again if that should happen. But
Bradshaw almost got Lawrence on the last corner. Here's Doug Henry as he heads toward the checkered flag. What a story here tonight.
Quite interesting story. My hair on my back, it goes up. I really, really like this part. Well, they said, okay, this is just a qualifying. It could go either way because the race is just totally different. We just ignore this. 3 hours later, the race comes on. Everybody in line.
Jeff Emick gets ready. We're underway. The final race of the season. Henry makes the $1,000 won 900 Pro Race Hole Shot Award.
looks like Henry is just going to say, see you later. He's already got a big lead in the battle. The way Doug has ridden the season, getting better and better with each event. But on the Supercross track, this tight, I am just blown away. I can't believe it. A lot better traction, all I can figure. He was bragging about being able to take the inside right there to make that pass on Emick.
Because obviously, he's got the power.
Yeah, he's got plenty of power. And before that triple in practice, I mentioned a little earlier that it looked like he was testing himself, testing the motorcycle to see how close he could get to that triple before actually gunning it and going for it. He was still making it no problem.
Come around. It's got payday written on it. And the crowd is standing, giving Doug Henry a great cheer as he takes the checkers for the third time of the 1997 season. And
first place, instantly. Then 2 seconds lead. Then he ended up winning the race. It's just amazing. That story is just mind-blowing. And everybody single-handedly was amazed about that race. And that's when actually the four-stroke dirt bike era born and the two-stroke dirt bike era from the racing industry went sideways. So history was made with, I think, the three biggest luck factor in the entire history of dirt biking. When we are looking at the 1997 Yamaha, it was 110 kilogram filled with magnesium, titanium, the best parts available at the time to race for the single purpose of being compatible on racing. On the other hand, we have the Stark Varg over here, which is developed to be different. I'm not going to say this in a bad way because I truly love my Stark Varg. I'm just giving you the fact. So this bike was only built to be different, not to compete against the top-level race bike. Why am I saying that? Because this bike looks like the new Lamborghini, performs like a new Lamborghini, and it weighs like a new Lamborghini. The new Lamborghini uses a battery and 2 electric motors between the clutch and engine to perform outstandingly. And everybody said it just has too much power for everything. Stark Varg is kind of like the same thing. When I look at the Stark Varg, I always thinking the Stark horses are more powerful than the regular horses. Stark Varg and racing. Stark Varg was no different. He was trying to do the same thing what Yamaha did, which is try to go to AMA and race against the best, but he fought short. The luck wasn't on his side. because AMA one single-handedly said, no, you cannot do that. And we all know why. Because these guys don't want the industry to be changed because they like it the way it is. They don't want to have a newly developed technology because they like it the way it is, because this is what makes them what? Money. So Stark Varg went to the enduro. There was nowhere else to go, and he's not successful there. The best place, they had a third place finish once, and that was their only luck because the other guys followed, and it was just happened unexpectedly. But they don't have the success, but they're hoping they have, because the bike is just not built for enduro. It's just built to be different. The 3D printed parts, the way it looks, heavy, there is no clutch. You cannot gauge or disengage the bike without having clutch. And hard enduro, it's a must-have. The hard enduro entering door is the trial bike riding. Every trial bike has a clutch. It's something what those bikes must have to gain momentum or break traction instantly. Stark Varg tried to do that by putting the rear brake up front, but unfortunately it doesn't really work because the bike is just too powerful. It just doesn't work. Long story short, in order to win enduro races, the bike needs to be way lighter than it is. The weight needs to be much lower than it is, and it has to have a clutch. And when I said the luck is not on Stark Varg's side, this is what I mean by, I have to pull up my phone to be exact. I made a little note where the Stark Varg would be perfect, where this bike could really shine pretty much the way it is. MX track, AMA racing, and question is obviously why. Here is why. No clutch delay, no gear change lag, no rev build-up, full torque at 0 RPM, no flash neutral, no clutch fade, no stalling. These are the benefits that puts the Stark above everybody else on the AMA motocross track. Unfortunately, it cannot be proven because AMA just won't let it happen. But you see my point, and over there, you know, if you need power, if you Eli Tomac, you need power, and there it is. You can have a power with a push of button. If you're Ken Ratson, you want to have a certain amount of power, then you can set it up instantly on the track, on the fly. So this bike, it could be the next biggest thing if AMA would let these guys to race on their track. It could bring the same amount of change like Yamaha did back in the days. I really enjoyed making this one. I mean, the Yamaha story is just the best ever.